What a crazy, crazy, crazy week 2 Monday night football games. I don't know if this is the first Monday night in history for week 2 that there are 2 football games on Monday. There is also 2 football games this upcoming Monday for week 3. Not really sure why there's 2 in week 3, but I, as an Eagles fan, will be at the one in Tampa Bay watching the Eagles play them at a 7:15 Pacific time. But let's get it started and talk to you about the week 2 Monday night football games and how there were so many crazy turnovers.
Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
Welcome back to Football Barbie, where I talk about anything and everything football. Please pardon with me while I'm traveling. It is so much more difficult. I refuse to bring my microphone and everything, so I will be doing the best I absolutely can to get you these videos. But let's get it started and talk to you about the Saints and the Panthers. So for the first time since 2013, the New Orleans Saints have managed to go 2-0. I'm going to go with that, but it's probably the Drew Brees era where the Saints end up winning the Super Bowl. The Saints almost did hold the first 2 weeks' teams against them to no touchdowns. However, Bryce Young did manage to throw a touchdown to Adam Thielen towards the end of the game. The Saints were not perfect. The Saints for sure had some issues. You did have Jones, who replaced Jamal Williams, who went out in the first half. He did end up running Williams for 34 yards on 12 carries. Their defense did hold Bryce Young to 153 passing yards in his home debut and limited Carolina to 239 yards, and they did sack Bryce Young 4 times. You did have the Saints, who did get some crazy fumble against the Panthers, and did have Tony Jones Jr., who ran for 2 touchdowns. Rookie Blake Group kicked 2 field goals, and the Saints to beat the Panthers for a 20-17 win to be 2-0. However, Derek Carr apparently does seem to get more picks away from home than he does at home. He had Von Bell from the Panthers get an interception against him. Michael Thomas also did have this amazing catch where he had his butt hit the ground instead of his feet, but I guess butt does count as well. The Panthers did end up scoring first in the game for a 52-yard field goal, where their kicker apparently has made the past 5 out of 5 of his 50-yard plus field goals. Young did try to throw the ball to only get it knocked out of his hands, and then the Saints' Carl Granderson, who had sacked Young in that process, forced a fumble where Paulson Adebo recovered the ball. They did lose linebacker Shaq Thompson late in the first quarter due to an ankle injury, who does seem like he will end up missing some time. Young to Thielen got the Panthers within 3, but the Saints did recover the onside kick and ran out the clock. Their offensive line for the Panthers was struggling quite a bit, where Miles Sanders was limited to 43 rushing yards. I'm not really sure kind of what's going on with the Panthers. I really would have thought that the Panthers would have been able to pull out these wins. They seem like they have this great team. They pulled Adam Thielen. They pulled Miles Sanders from really winning teams last season. Their offensive line just keeps struggling. You know, the Saints for sure had their issues. The Saints only got 1 touchdown in their week 1 game and did manage to get, 2 touchdowns in this game. But the Saints have their problems. I mean, I'm sure any of these teams are taking a win as a win at the end of the day, just like how I feel with the Eagles. But I'm just very, very confused on the Panthers. Saints just have their problems. And then you have Carolina. I'm not sure. I know he's a rookie quarterback, but his height really might kind of seem to be a factor for the Panthers. You know, it's kind of hard for him to throw these footballs over these really high players that are blocking him, and he's, a smaller dude. He's truly just getting sacked and sacked. I mean, the Saints sacked him 4 times in the game. Now, that might not be a lot, but Young did at least throw for a touchdown, and he did have his parents there to watch. So That was really cool, but I'm still just kind of concerned over the Panthers. You know, I thought the Panthers are going to do well this season. I feel like I thought that the Panthers were maybe going to manage to, you know, get quite a bit of wins, but they're 0-2. And in my house, we're trying to be Team Panthers fan here, but it's looking a little difficult in order to be a Panthers fan. Hopefully the Panthers can pull it out for week 3 and manage to get a win. As for the Saints, I don't know. I feel like when the Saints start going against really hard teams, they're going to get destroyed. All their weaknesses and flaws will for sure come out. They have played the Titans, who I think the Titans are kind of like a semi-mid-pack. I think the Panthers are kind of mid-pack. But the hard teams that they would have to go against for the season, yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to hold on. Now, they are still missing Alvin Kamara, who for sure they need. But let's just see what happens. And now let's talk about week 2's second Monday night game of the week. And that would be the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And all I want to say is, first off, poor Nick Chubb. You know, when these players go down and it's career ending or season ending, Nick Chubb got quite injured on a play that they wouldn't even show the replay during the game. It looked to be a really bad knee injury. Apparently, it's the same knee that he injured in 2015 and then had to recover from. And all the prayers out there for Nick Chubb that he does have a speedy recovery, because he is for sure one of the top running backs in the entire league. It does make for the argument of, do these running backs, even though they are the top running backs in the league, deserve to be paid the amount of money? Because it just seems like they could get hurt very easily, especially after Saquon Barkley missing a couple games under the Giants. But the Browns do seem to have a tendency to lose when they go to the Steelers' home for the regular season games. The first play was tipped for the pick 6 in the game, but the Browns had the ball, and the Pittsburgh scored a touchdown in that play. They did get a touchdown and then also a 2-point conversion. They managed to get, though, 2 2-point conversions. And I was actually surprised that they went for the 2-point conversions so early within a game. They would have thought that they were playing like the last quarter or something. I just was really surprised that they kept going for the 2-point conversions. I mean, it really could have screwed them up. Maybe they just know that they lose against the Steelers on Monday nights, or they lose against the Steelers or whatever in general. I don't know, but that was pretty interesting. Watson ended up giving a fumble, but it looked like a guy, though, did punch the ball out from his hands from one of the Steelers players. Watson did also run the ball in for a 2-point attempt. The Browns were penalized 8 times for 81 yards and turned it over 4 times. Watson did also have 235 yards with a touchdown. What I mean that this game, the first quarter, took 1 hour of play time, like 1 hour of time, 5:15 to 6:15. By the end of 6:15 mark, you were in the first quarter. When the 2 Monday night games started off, they were only a quarter behind. By the end of it, the first game was in almost a halftime, while this Monday night football for the Steelers in the first quarter. So it was kind of crazy that it took so long. The Browns just had a lot of penalties, and they had a lot of fumbles. I mean, some of them were forced fumbles, so that does kind of suck. But it did seem like Pittsburgh's defense truly is the team that managed to win it for them. Thank God for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys have TJ Watt. Not only is it apparently his first defensive tackle in his 7-year career history, so congrats to TJ Watt. I literally did say last week that TJ Watt is an absolute beast. But, you know, they did have Mike Tomlin, who had challenged the ball at one point, and apparently Mike Tomlin is 0-5 in challenges over the past 3 years, but they did end up getting the ball after Watson fumbled, but you weren't really kind of sure, because it's kind of like, was Watson down or not, what happened? But the Steelers did force that fumble against Watson, and the Steelers actually did win that challenge. Highsmith is the one who did have the first pick 6 of the game against the Browns, which is crazy. First play of the game, and it starts off in a pick 6. What a way to roll. The Steelers have 52 wins on Monday Night Football, tied for the most in series history. They have 20 straight home wins on Monday Night Football, which is the longest streak in series history, and they have won their 12 of their last 13 appearances. And it did seem that their defense did most of the winning, like I said, for them by forcing all of the turnovers. I'm happy that the Steelers won. I thought that the Steelers were going to win this game. Steelers are still struggling quite a bit, along with the Browns. I was very curious to see how the Browns were going to play this week against the Steelers, considering the fact that they almost basically shut out the Bengals the week before. You're like, are the Browns really this good? Are you a Browns fan? Because I would love to know. Please comment down below. But it's like, are the Browns really this good? Or are the Bengals really that bad? And at this point, the Bengals are now 0-2. But I think the Bengals, it said that they were 0-2 last season and still managed to win 13 of their games. So it's not like the Bengals can't pull back. This is why I love the turnovers in football, because it keeps the game so interesting. Like, 1 minute you're going for the ball and you're almost at the goal line, and the next minute the other team scores a goal. It literally just makes for the most craziest amount of football. But please, guys, tell me what you like. What were your thoughts over the Steelers game versus the Browns? And what about the Panthers versus the Saints? Do you think that Bryce Young really can be this franchise quarterback here for the Panthers? Or do you think that they really do need somebody better? I mean, Robbie at home for us was saying how Cam Newton probably would have done better for the Panthers. They did lose Shaq. That sucks for them. I just don't think that either team is good. I think I said that the Saints were going to win their division, but I don't think they're winning it by much. I think they're only going to win it maybe by like 1 over the Panthers. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. So please bear with me for this week and next week as I am traveling, and then it'll make my life a little bit easier and I can be back home recording these games for you. So thank you so much, guys. Love y'all. Ta-ta for now.